you. I don't know what to say right now. I had something made up that I was going to say. He was the kindest person. The man did almost, that's all I hear. That Doug was the kindest, best person they ever met. And he was complicated. So I just want to thank you all.
Can I hear you?
Yeah, it's
This is on mute to start speaking.
you guys can all hear me, right? Yeah, it's coming on Dave's computer.
Okay.
So he loved his dogs more than anybody, I think. When he phoned me, he would say, "Hi, how are the dogs?" It was never, "Hi, how are you doing?" It was, "Hi, how are the dogs?" I'm sure everybody has stories to tell, and we can do that. I know some people have to go, so I think we should just do the service, and then if anyone has anything to say, we can go from there. Okay, Dave?
All right. I never pictured myself reading, speaking these words over Doug Davidson. He was the best man I ever knew. I've been saying that for years. Our loss is gain in other times. Our hopes on future bent must then depend on incidents like these, for bodies where, and in the fine grist mill of time, are spent in service such as yours. And go our time by smallest time into the yesterday, wherein began the conquest of eternity. What did we know when yesterday we wept? What grip upon us had our ignorance, that we in our conceit did feel that all of us were mortal here, and lives once led were spent and wasted on our selfish selves? How narrow is such scope, to feel that we should be eternally the goal of all the toil and wretchedness from birth to death, and like a play the curtain dropped and left an empty stage. How dull of us to feel that we were the target of this strife, and that we lived but once, and living then did reconcile the whole in one brief life. Oh no, a wider drama here was planned and staged, and we, with narrowness of mind, did overlook the plan. We said that all is mortal flesh, the spirit just a thing to send for peace to some strange heaven, there to waste its skill, or had we not the price to some deep other place to pain and waste again the life? To what dark depths were dropped our minds to feel that flesh is capable of love or trust or livingness, to feel that fingernails and masks are all we need to dream? To what deep place did our love go that mask could recompense? Anxieties that ruled our years were nurtured here, and we made blind and dumb by other greed, spanned down our lives to one. What waste. To feel that all our love, our work, our gifts, our knowledge, and our sighs were meant to be consumed all in one breath and flash and by one name. Today, come wiser now, the chains gone weak, the tyranny of cult. The tyranny of cult, gone tired with the years. We look, we find we live, not once, but on and on, from body's birth to body's grave, and then to birth again, and yea, to grave again, so to dispose possessions oft come undone with livingness. From century to century, from age to age and on, we go in march along the path that leads forever up the countless tick of time. We crawl, we walk, we fly, we win from here and evermore the heritage of all our lives and spend it once again. Why, this is no sad and bleakish look, no sorrowed thing, this life. This is an adventure pure, where without knife or provender, we leap aloft into eternity and span forever in a breath. This is adventure where we step from tie to body tie and go our way. Our suffering is self-centered here, for we have lost in truth the smile, the touch, the skill and happiness we gained from Doug, who gave to us from his past ability to live and fare against the tides and storms of fate. It's true we've lost his shoulder up against the wheel, and lost as well his counsel and his strength, but lost them only for a while. He goes not with the dismal roll drum, but with a whisper like a fairy's sigh to smooth the way for when we come. He'll be in some good future time and future place. His smile, his touch, his skill invested there to make a way of life. True, we may not know him then and only know his work, but still, if we sent not ahead our vedettes into time, we would not have a race. Vedettes, mounted sentinels that ride on ahead of the rest of the army. And so branched off from this genetic line and into some new corner or new world, we've sent you, Doug. And there'll be, we know it now, a smile, a touch, a happiness for us. And you could not find, there'll be, we know it now, a smile, a touch, a happiness for us and you could not find on earth. And so it turns, the day, the year, the age. And so we go with banners furled and quietly upon our way. But now we know, and now we'll find the way. Into the dark has come the light. Into tomorrow enters night. Into heaven go no more. Into life our spirits soar. Conquering ever wisdom's store. We do not tremble faced with death. We know that living is not breath. Prevail. Go, Doug, and take the life that others offer and live in good expectancy that we will do our part. Go, Doug. You can control that which you must. Our loss is gain in wisdom and in skill to future dates and other smiles. And so we send into the chain of all enduring time, our heritage, our hope, our friend. Goodbye, Doug. Your people thank you for having lived. Earth is better for your having lived. Men, women, and children are alive today because you lived. We thank you for coming to us. We do not contest your right to go away. Your debts are paid. This chapter of thy life is shut. Go now, dear Doug, and live once more in happier time and place. Thank you, Doug. And now here, lift up your eyes and say to him goodbye.
Right,
Goodbye, Doug.
goodbye.
Bye, Doug.
So
Goodbye.
long, buddy. See you soon.
Not too soon.
No, not too soon, but soon.
Yeah.
Goodbye, our dear, goodbye. We'll miss you, you know. Let the body now draw away to be consumed to ashes and to dust, in earthly and in cleanly fire, to be no more, no more. And that is done. Come, friends, he is all right and he is gone. We have our work to do and he has his. He will be welcome there. To man.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Shaw, can you just take over as moderator, please? If anybody wants to speak.
Yeah, if anybody here would like to say anything, we'll move quickly to the front. And,
Well, I'd be happy to start.
Okay, that'd be
Come on
great.
up. Come on up. Is it better if he sits right?
Yeah, he can sit right.
Mrs. Colton, our nephew.
You know, as Annette was saying, and I'm sure she's heard this lots, he was one of the kindest people that I've ever known. My childhood was better because Doug was around. He was generous. He was thoughtful. He was extremely funny. And I guess there's a couple memories that came to mind. One of them was I think it was Lita's wedding when Doug was the moderator or was emceeing. He had the crowd, eating out of the palm of his hand. He was such a good speaker.
Yeah.
He was so witty. It was something I admired about him, and any event he was a part of, he made better.
Yeah.
And another memory came to mind because I had kind of forgotten about it until this sort of last week. You start reflecting, remembering people that you've lost. And I remember I guess it would be on Christmas Eve. Doug would read the night before Christmas.
Yeah.
I would genuinely look forward to that. Into adulthood. He did it so well. Right? Chevy Chase would be bowing to him. And it was it added to the magic. Of my childhood and just my life in general. Actually, just this very moment, another thing occurred to me when I don't know if you remember Ryan and Dave, and that you're all part of this, did an Easter egg hunt. And it was a treasure hunt. And you dressed up in ears. You led us on an adventure around the property. That might have been the most, well, it was the most fun I've ever had at Easter, and maybe the most fun I've ever had at a holiday. And he made it. It was largely because of Doug.
Yeah.
You guys were the funny chain gang.
Yeah.
That's right.
We were horrible to you.
We were horrible.
We loved it.
We made those horrible things.
It was so much fun.
We had a chest, a big chest of candy. It was like hundreds of
It
dollars.
was about 6 feet down.
Yeah.
Orion and I buried it 6 feet deep.
Yeah.
And after following all the clues, went to clue to clue to clue, it took you guys like 2 hours to find the damn thing.
Yeah.
And then the shovels were there, and you had to dig and dig and dig. I remember at one point, Billy threw his shovel down and marched off. He was walking off up the road. That's it, I'm done.
Yeah, because he didn't think it was there, man. He thought you guys were bullshitting us again.
Ryan and I sat back with our beer and watched. We just watched him walking away, because we knew. He finally kind of walked slower and slower, and finally stopped, turned around, came back, grabbed the shovel.
He came back for the candy.
Yeah.
He'll be back,
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, more memories I'm sure we'll pour in, but those
Oh,
are
yeah.
some of the magical moments that I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Steve.
That's
Yeah.
really.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Keith. Did you want to say something or?
Oh, I was just gonna say thank you for that, and this is all very touching, very touching. And for what it's worth, he's getting this, he's getting all this
Thank you.
right now. That's it for now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
I remember.
Well, and he's getting all this now. He is very touched by this. And
We all love him.
huh?
We all love him.
Yeah, and he that's what I'm getting right now. Very strong. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I remember one time, I remember one time when I was driving the fish truck, I was set up in Fruitvale. And I'm selling fish. And this guy came along, and he was kind of a rough around the edges kind of a guy, right? And he came and he looked in the back of the truck, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Oh, you're not him." And I knew right away who he was talking about, but I said, "Who are you looking for?" He says, "Doug." And he proceeded to tell me the story of how somewhere way up north, I think it was Fort St. James, somewhere up there, Vanderhoof, he had stopped at the seafood truck. And I guess he was just kind of got into a conversation with Doug. And they got to talking, and this guy was going through a particularly rough patch in his life. And Doug gave him, I think it was $50. It could have been 50, it could have been 500. I don't know. It was Doug, you know. He gave him a bunch of money, and this fella had showed up at the seafood truck in Fruitvale to pay him back.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's stuff.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to thank him.
I hope you got that chance.
I must have taken the money and given it to Doug or
Yeah.
something. I mean, I don't think I would just send the guy off, you know. I hope I gave it to Doug.
That seems more your pace.
That's what I was gonna say.
At first I thought you were going to say about how after Kofi had done a couple of runs and all the young girls would come up to the truck. I'm really disappointed with
There was that too. There was that. The women, not just young women. There was once I was set up, where was it? Trail or someplace? Again, it was out east, might have been Fruitvale. Again. But I'm sitting there in the seafood truck, and this woman and her daughter, they showed up and they looked so fucking disappointed. And they saw me. They were looking for Cole.
Did they say Doug owed them 500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a strapping young man that was here selling seafood. Yeah, I don't think they bought anything off of me. I guess I should have taken off my shirt and flexed my.
I don't know what they.
Sorry, Dave.
911. Yeah.
I'll say something.
Oh,
I kind of in response to that a bit, as far as Doug always wanting to help everybody and having such a kind heart. I remember I was going through a really, really rough time in my life, one of the roughest times I've been through. And I was just so incredibly upset. And Doug just wanted to help me not be upset. He just wanted to help me so much. And he kept like coming up with these different options of what to do. And none of them were very practical. But he kept coming up with these ideas that he just really, really wanted, to see me feel better. And yeah, it's all these stories of him helping strangers. He would, but he would help family in the same way too.
Mhm.
He'd help everybody.
Yeah. We couldn't get him to stop in the end. If we were lifting plywood, there was Dougie trying to lift 2 sheets on his own,
Yeah,
almost killing himself out there in the field,
on his back.
With his pack, yeah.
and you just couldn't get him to slow down. He was so used to bossing that body around, and that body did Dougie's bidding
Mhm.
for all those years,
Yeah.
decades, right?
Yeah.
And finally the body just couldn't obey anymore.
Couldn't keep up with Doug.
Couldn't.
No.
That's right. Couldn't keep up with Dougie. I just wanted to say that like there's the family, how much he's done for family, and all of us here are family, we all know that. But just in a world that maybe isn't as real to everybody, the Scientology world, Dougie audited hundreds and hundreds of people and helped them so enormously that he really needs to be acknowledged. I mean, that's what he was built for. That's what he lived for, was helping people. And he just did it in the most amazing way. And towards the end, when he was really having a rough time, and he was, his breathing was quite bad and it was loud, and he was sitting in one of these chairs looking out that window, and he had said a few times how, oh, this is nice, this is nice. And finally his breathing kind of got calm and he just snoozed and relaxed. And I'll always remember him just looking and, sitting there and finally being, relaxed and happy, and Hurricane was sleeping.
Yeah, the people that aren't Scientologists don't probably know that by the time, I think it was somewhere 1986, Doug and I were figuring out how many hours of auditing that he'd done. By that time, it was 30,000 hours by that time, and he continued to audit. Yeah, he just continued to audit.
Yeah.
After that, right up until the day before he passed, he still had somebody to audit.
He audited them in the truck, I think. 'Cause it
Yeah,
was warm
yeah,
in
he
there,
was
had
sitting
heated
in the
seats.
truck. Yeah.
Because it had warm
It had heated seats.
heated seats.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm.
it was
It
his.
shows he put others before himself. It's like, you need help, I'll go up to the truck, warm it up.
Always,
Yeah, absolutely.
always others before himself.
Yeah. He also taught the grandkids and the kids poems.
Oh,
All our kids knew poems. October, would you like to recite one?
Want to hear the poem?
One of the
let's hear
classics.
The first poem that he ever taught you.
Yes. Well, first, I just want to say that being Doug's daughter, it meant what all of you know. And to the fullest extent, it just meant that my childhood, I just felt loved all the time. And I felt like I had a person there. I mean, I had a lot of love growing up, but Dad was always just just there, ready to be there for me, to play, to love me, to talk to me, to read to me, tell me stories. Even though he worked a lot, he was also just there for you. Whenever he was there for you. And so, I mean, I have a lot of particular memories, but just the feeling of love, of just someone who genuinely cares so much about you. That. I wouldn't be the person I am today without that childhood, without having Dad. Yeah. And so I wouldn't be the kind of person I am today without Dad in a lot of ways. I have a really terrible sense of humor because of this guy. And so
I think we all hear that too.
so we all have that. And when I was about 3 or 4, I think 3, one of the very first things that Dad taught Orion and I was some really beautiful poetry. We would always come home and recite for Mom whenever we learned a new one. And so the very first one I remember started off, say it with me if you know this one. Orion, there I sat.
Here I sat.
Brokenhearted.
Paid a dime, but only farted.
Only farted.
Next time, took a chance, saved the dime and shit my
Took a
pants.
chance. Save the dime and shit my pants.
Unbelievable. That's beautiful.
Tortured. Yeah.
Dougie and the classics.
Yeah. And he did not neglect my kids. They learned a really quick one.
Yeah.
Just a line, but it's really beautiful. And
Does Reagan want to say it or Grayson? Reagan, would you like to say the brown part? Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna share it because it's hard. So we have no idea. It's a bit of a mystery. It's you know how poems are, you don't always know what they mean. But you get the idea from the sound of the words. So Dad's
October.
yeah.
Can you hang on just a sec because all the little pictures are hiding Reagan. Oh, now we can see her.
Oh,
We'll just get
So-
them on. There we go. There's Reagan.
yeah. They don't want to say it. They're, it's just
okay.
hard for them to speak.
Kind of understandable. It's pretty private.
But so you can get the gist of the poem by the sound of it, and maybe you'll grab the meaning from that. So it goes, when you pee in a diaper, out comes a fliper. We don't know what a fliper is, but shortly after that, Fonzie got the name Fliper. He's been the Fliper.
So Fonzie was your dog. So when you pee in a diaper, Fonzie comes out?
Apparently, yes.
Apparently.
We just don't know.
Dad was wise. He knew things.
What's that?
Dad was very wise. He knew
Yeah.
things. He knew that Flipers came out of diapers. But that's another thing about Dad too. I mean, he was so many things like Mom's dad. He was complicated, but his intelligence, his memory, the way he thought, his thought process, I always admired and respected him so much. I was always in awe of him, and just he always amazed me with all the things he knew. And just off the top of his head, if you wanted to know anything about ancient Greece, he knew it. Anything about World War I or II, he knew it. Hoover, he knows everything about Hoover.
And now you do too. Since
Yeah, I know everything. Everything. I'm well versed. So, yeah.
Yeah, you always wanted him on your Trivial Pursuit team.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he loved his dogs. I don't know if anybody here knows the blessing, but we've all forgotten how to say it. So we're gonna have to learn it.
Omni Pactus Spiritus Sanctus.
That's pretty good.
And he, every time at the dinner table, he would always bless his dogs and feed them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. It doesn't matter if there were 5, 6, then he would seriously sit and bless each dog with that omnipatus spiritus sanctus.
Like it's all the dogs are Catholic.
Yeah. Oh, those are good.
Always Catholics on the dog.
We're all Scientologists.
Yeah.
The dogs are Catholic.
Do you want me to unmute Shaw? Is it because the sound isn't very good? Or
No, I don't think you unmute.
no? Okay.
You probably only want sound coming in one computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Else would be echoey.
Yeah, we did that.
So just so you know, for your recording, it's only coming through Dave's recorder. Is just a picture of a chair.
Oh,
That's why maybe Annette's computer should be the one unmuted, because we don't see anything when you guys are talking.
oh, well,
Right.
yeah, we need people to come on up here. And
There you go.
share.
Yeah, so that's the chair that you guys should talk in would be good. Thank you.
Okay, so.
Talking
yeah,
chair.
we'll leave it open.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have any other talking points. but I
That's
can
all right.
sit
You're welcome.
Here, so that.
Okay. And, yeah.
What's that?
They can be still from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to just sit beside it. I don't want to hog the screen. I feel like I met Doug when I was 5. I may have met him earlier. It's just all my memories start at 5. And I remember him singing Lita Meter Maid songs to me. And I was like, I'm not a meter maid. and not quite understanding. But it was so cool how many songs he knew.
Oh,
And just, the fact that he drove cab back in the day. And it was just kind of like he had that persona of always wanting to engage everyone and to let them know about all the different interesting things that were going on. And, not that I ever wanted to be a stock promoter or like get involved in stocks, but it was very exciting to hear Doug talk about it and to like watch movies with him and for him to tell you what was motivating these different people and why they were doing things. And I don't think I would have ever went to Las Vegas twice in high school for spring break if it wasn't for Uncle Doug and stock promoting.
Yeah.
Like, what 15, 16-year-old gets to do Vegas twice?
yeah.
That was a fun trip.
It was
It was
amazing. No, it was so generous and it was spectacular. What an experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One thing about Doug is maybe everybody knows is that he was a really, really kind person. But he loved war movies.
Yeah.
He would watch them over and over and over, all of them. I think he must have seen Midway 100 times. Maybe more.
Mhm.
Right? He was a contradictory character in many ways. Thank you, Lita. Stay there.
I don't like seeing myself on the screen. You should sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
Okay.
Lots
Give a
in
few
it.
memories. Uncle Doug. I think Lita was 5. I was probably about 3, and I just remember Uncle Doug just being the funnest uncle. I'd sit on his lap and he would shoot his dentures out at me. That was the funnest game. Love that. And remember another time at Baba's, and I don't know if I grew overnight or something, but my rubber boots had something. I remember like put them in the next day and it felt like there was something stuck in them. and Baba made him like keep trying to dig something out that was not in there.
But he humored her.
He tried to fix it for
for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
just grew half an inch. I don't know, like kids do, they just felt different, but he tried. And remember when he was selling fish and come out to Thorsby where I live one time, I must have been 16. And I had Lita's ID so I could get into the bar there. So we were at the bar when he showed up and just hanging off the side of the railing, just happy drunk. And Uncle Doug come up and
Oh,
he just loved that. He just, we were the Thorsby Knights after that, and
Yeah.
he loved the Thorsby Hotel. And remember we watched movies, and yeah, it was nice having him come out there. And he was just, he knew everything. He would talk about the history. We'd start watching a movie and something would spark.
Yeah.
And he'd have so much more insight to tell about it.
And he was very good at explaining it to whoever he was talking to. Like I remember, him explaining, the dynamics of the war when I was like, 8 or 9, but he could do it in a way that, I'd understand.
Yeah.
Right. He had no interest in like talking above you or over you or anything. It was just genuine interest. He wasn't, it wasn't like some sort of.
He was excited.
Yeah, it was
about
just like
everything.
excited about it and excited to share and excited to talk about it. And that's how you learn. So yeah, I think we all learned a lot because of that.
I remember he said when he was in Catholic school, he had a really great teacher
Yeah.
that he had just absorbed everything from
One
him.
of the monks, yeah. I can't remember the name. Brother Martin, I think that was his name. He was just a great teacher.
Maybe that's where he got the dog blessing from.
Yeah.
He was an altar boy too.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah. They like to drink the wine and eat the wafers. The priest wasn't looking.
Yeah. I was still doing that. Is Papa not here?
Oh, and I always remember going to get ice cream and get one for him, one for the dog. Or if, if the dog ate his too fast, he would share.
Yeah. Yeah, with the dogs ate from Doug's plate or his fork, Doug ate it too.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd all be sitting around the table and all the dogs would be around Dougie, because he'd be feeding each one of them individually off his fork.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I just wanted to say too that what October was saying about him just being such a presence, it just made me realize he was so huge. He was a presence in everybody's life. He was just this magnificent creature that was there all the time. And you sort of took it for granted,
Yeah.
He was a very, very big presence in everybody's life. And he helped us all. I mean, Dave got a lot of auditing from him last year.
Put me through right up through my grades
Yeah.
and a drug rundown.
Have a memory.
Okay.
You want to take my chair? Larry's.
Take Larry's chair.
Oh, I remember living at the lake house with you guys, and sometimes Doug would be relaxing on the couch watching his movies. And late one night, I came just crawling out of my hole, and
Sorry, it was a hole.
Angel had a room.
So, it must have been done.
I didn't know you kept her in
No,
a
it's just-
hole.
just because I was a creature. That's all. And he was watching this movie called Warriors. Warriors playing. I thought it was pretty cool. Like these young guys shirtless and whatever. And that quote, I just like carried on through, like, because I was like 12 or something. So
I'd use that quote every now and again, and I'd make sure Doug was around because he would run off with it.
Yeah.
And just like
Just
I
set them up.
yeah, and I just love to hear him quote all the movies, and he was just like an encyclopedia for everything. Movie quotes and super charismatic and big family guy.
Yeah. What kind of show was this? You
But
and
it's
Doug
like-
just watching the hunky shirtless guy?
Yeah, it's like these rival gangs or whatever.
New York City games, I think.
Okay.
October, did you and Ryan go with us to that movie? Because it was an early 80s.
I don't remember
Okay.
going to it.
Okay.
Oh, you don't
Just
remember?
remember Dad quoting about
Yeah.
it.
We actually, Doug and I went to see it. I think it was a Sean Penn movie. I think, anybody remember this movie?
I saw it once with Dad. It was one of his favorites.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was this really creepy guy. He's like a teenager and he's from the rival game, and there's some kind of a gate, and he comes out. He's like really creepy, he's like shrinking down like this. Warriors come to play.
Oh,
Do you remember that? Is that the
Watched
same
it.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you watched it a couple of days ago?
A couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Christmas or something.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you may have. He loved that movie. I don't know why.
It's the shirtless warrior. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and then if you were little, he'd run around. He'd be playing hide and seek, and Dad would say that warriors come on. No. And Dad loved quoting obscure things that none of us have ever heard of. And he'd say, "Hey, you remember this?" It's like, "No, Dad, I don't remember that. I don't have a photographic memory." And then he'd have to explain it all. But Ray, remember this? None of us remember, Dad. You're the only one in the world who knows everything. The rest of us are peons. It's like, you just
He knew the
remember.
names of the actors in just about any movie you wanted to name.
Yeah.
He knew their kids' names. Oh,
Oh, he especially knew about Hoovers.
mhm.
Oh, okay. Hi. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My connection's like a little bit bad, but yeah, no, just to build off everything people talked about, like his presence. I feel like I didn't really know Doug like one-on-one closely, but somehow his presence was so big. Like he had like an understated presence in my life. Like there's my quirky mom, and somehow Doug felt sort of like the equilibrium, like usually quiet at like a family gathering until like he'd like swoop in with some like just like on point funny remark or like historical knowledge, and like usually it was over my head or I didn't know the reference, but like I would just laugh because his delivery and his beat and everything was just like you couldn't help but like laugh at him. And sometimes I wondered like how he would hang out with us country bumpkins, because he just seemed like the like cosmopolitan cultured like person that would every once in a while like come in. And like I remember and at the same time, yeah, at the same, but then at the same time, like the fart jokes and everything, it was just like a perfect like resonance, and like probably like influenced me in wanting to learn a little bit more about the world outside. And I remember like probably when I was like in grade 5 or something, he asked me to type, because I could type fast, a script for him. And so we'd be sitting in the computer room and I'd be typing, and he'd be amazed that I could type Afghanistan like easily, like spell it every time. And I was just like, and I just remember thinking like, yeah, I know how to spell this, but it's probably a good thing I don't know much about this place or what this is about, because I don't feel like it was like kid appropriate content. But yeah.
He wrote a script for Sylvester Stallone. And
Really?
he actually submitted it to, I think it was a producer. I can't remember the guy's name. The guy read it and he said it was good. He couldn't do it at that time. And I remember something about the guy going out to his chicken coop and he was explaining to Doug something about his chickens, right? And why he couldn't write, like he couldn't actually produce this movie at the time, but he was going to keep it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is that what you think the Afghanistan?
Yeah, I
story?
think
Oh,
that's
okay,
the
yeah.
one you're typing, Selena. Yeah, that was, about Afghanistan. It had to do with Stallone and his heritage as a native. And it was a really good story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never heard about that. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, Doug was a good writer. He wrote for, business plans and news releases. And,
Yeah.
and he wrote scripts. Yeah.
Like when he was working for companies and such down in the States, was he often like the sort of like the PR guy?
He was the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
When you're younger, you're not quite sure what the role is and that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, he did the TV shows and the radio shows and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was a portion.
Yeah.
One of the phases of his life.
Yeah.
That was a milk spec.
That was, say yes foods, yeah.
I saw a lot of stories about that.
Yeah, you heard the one about that? Yeah.
Still some of the best chocolate milk I've had.
It was good
Like-
milk. It was actually really
He's always
good.
like, oh, if only that would have just like made it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it did. It actually did make it, but they yeah.
Was that the embezzler who went off to Thailand with $1 million and started a meth lab?
That was a different.
Oh, right, that was a different one. That was,
The one you were working on in Richmond?
yeah.
The Philippines guy?
Verified transactions.
Yeah, that was it. Verified
Oh, right,
transactions. Doug phoned me from the Philippines to tell me that he didn't realize that, what was his name? One of them, went to see the wife in the apartment, Marie, I remember her name. He had an odd name. So he went to see the wife. He was in Manila, I guess, and or someplace like that. Oh, yeah, what was his name? Yeah, and she couldn't find him, and then the police came to her door. He was the guy he was working with, right? Just like a regular guy. And the police came to her door looking for him, and they didn't know where he was. And finally, he thought that the verified transactions wasn't doing very well. The guy didn't, right? So he went down to the docks, got himself a warehouse, and started making meth so that he could support the company.
Oh, if he actually was doing it for the company, that's a little bit more noble. You almost have like a Walter White situation there.
That was like, what are you doing?
That is the question.
Jail in the Philippines. Yeah, he had a lot of adventures like that. Yeah, a lot of adventures.
Speaking of verified transactions, I remember all of that. Yeah, because I had just come back to Canada. I was staying at the Richmond house with you guys, and Doug got me a job at verified transactions. I had no idea what it was. It was this crazy Ponzi scheme. I'm doing these cold.
No, there was a
calls
real
talking to
product.
people
It was
about
in a warehouse.
Good quality.
Yeah.
trying to talk to them about the stock market while I barely know anything about it. Walking around the office in my wool socks. Or whatever it was. It wasn't even like a proper office. But Dad would always give me coffee. I've never been much of a coffee drinker. I've always liked the taste of coffee, but like it makes me paranoid. I can't drink it. Sometimes when I'm really tired, I'll have a cup. And then like if I'm driving or something, And then like an hour later, I'll like get this paranoia and I'm like, the world's coming to an end. And I'll be like breaking out in a cold sweat. And I'm like, oh yeah, I had a coffee an hour ago. So now I usually just have a 20-minute nap instead of the coffee. But he would get me a coffee pretty much every morning. And because Doug got it for me, I wanted to drink it. And he'd get me like whatever, you know, like the fancy stuff, like some kind of like a pumpkin latte or whatever it was. So it tasted amazing too. I think that's the most coffee I ever drank in my life. When I was working there.
But your
because
entire
Doug-
stint at the company was of a paranoid sort of sweat. You and his associate, apparently.
Go out and just get something for himself. He'd always get something from me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was always surprised with these companies when he found out they were criminals. It was like horrified to me. Just absolutely horrified. Yeah. He was always trying to save them. Trying to save the company, trying to save the shareholders.
Trying to save the criminals.
We lost a lot of money trying to save shareholders.
Yeah, it wasn't so much trying to save the criminals. He was trying to save the people that had invested.
Yeah, the people that had invested, he felt bad.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a good PR man, but kind of not really looking at the companies, the top guys. Yeah. Yeah, a little naive.
Yeah. He was also oh, go ahead, Ranger.
No, go ahead, Brenda.
I was gonna say an excellent DJ. I remember up at Leighton's, I think it was one of your New Year's Eve parties.
That was the best New Year's Eve party ever.
It was.
Yeah,
He was
it was.
such a good DJ. He had all of us old guys doing the limbo with a very high bar.
And the conga line.
The conga.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that living room was packed and pumping.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was.
For a
Yeah,
family
yeah.
gathering.
That was
Yeah.
incredible. It was
Yeah, it was really the best. It was the best party.
yeah, Dougie was spinning the tunes. that
Yeah.
night.
He was just in his glory because he always knew what was going to come up next, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, he loved music.
Yeah.
He just absolutely loved it.
So
I got you.
I got a story. I would have my friends over, Alicia and Raylene, and we were pretty young. But you know, if we were ever bored, we'd ask Grandpa to take us for a drive. Well, he taught us how to drive. But we didn't have our licenses. So here we are, all three of us learning how to drive without licenses, way underage. And I remember one time I was driving, you know, figuring it out, and all of a sudden he kind of said to me, he's like, Rainy, your wheels are turning. And I freaked. I freaked. I thought I did something wrong. I was like, oh my God, Grandpa, what do I do? And then I kind of like looked at him and he's just smiling. And I'm like, oh, duh, I'm driving. My wheels are supposed to turn.
You would do that. Just all of a sudden scare the living daylights out of you.
Yeah, and you know, I passed social studies because of him, like just strictly because of him. I'd have homework or something, and I'd come home and do homework, and I would sit there and ask him my homework question, and I'd write down his answer. And whoa.
So Doug passed social studies.
Yeah. And So yeah, when it came to test time, I think my teacher knew I didn't know anything, but I did my best. I passed all the assignments though.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when I took the test, it was like I could figure it out. It wasn't like having grandpa there with me, but yeah, I passed socials because of him. And just being raised by him was the best thing that has ever happened to me. He helped me through every single little thing I ever went through, and he was just always there, and it's gonna be different without him. So thank you for that, Grandpa. Thank you. But yeah, those are my stories.
Thank you.
I was wondering if there was anybody online that wanted to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak for a bit. I don't know if I have anything to say, so that's the worst time when I start talking, because I do. I have nothing to say. So I just really met Annette the other day. I know Kathy and Zeal. So I met Annette and we were, Annette and I spent a bit of time talking, whatever. And so I met Doug. Okay. And got a good sense of him. Anyway, so what do I want to say? I don't know. I'm so impressed. I'm so honored to be part of this and listen to everything that everybody said so far. I am so touched by it. Are you all Scientologists?
No,
No.
No, they're not.
Oh, so there's hope for some of you. Okay. And are you all Canadians? Are you all Canadians?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord help us. Okay. Well, all right. Now, I had a question about some things that he said he had a sense of humor, like wicked, inappropriate, like something I could relate to, or
Kind of like
somebody-
that.
Yeah, it was whatever you wanted his sense of humor to be.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, yeah, because his perception was so good, he would tune into exactly what you would find funny.
Yeah.
He could gear it to your reality like that. I think, yeah, that's cool.
Really
All
cool.
right. Well, one thing, and a couple of you said that he would quote and speak about things that you didn't know about. He was so knowledgeable and so many things that he would talk about history or whatever. And you're like, yeah, okay, he's just, and I think, just putting it out there, maybe he was bullshitting you all this time because you didn't know anything. I mean, that just goes with a sense of humor.
No, Dad watched all kinds of documentaries, and he was just constantly watching the war movies mostly, and he knew strategy, and he got that from high school. He really knew strategy, war strategy. He was super interested in it. So
Maybe more like history more generally too, but yeah, he loved war strategy.
yeah,
He had a photographic memory. He just remembered every line from every movie and every song. He just
Yeah.
knew it. And no, and I wouldn't say that he necessarily just adapted to everybody. He just connected with everybody, and he was authentic. He never lied. And so I think that was another thing about him that was so great, is just that you always got to interact. Maybe he didn't show all of him all the time, but you always felt like, he saw you. And no, he was just extremely unusual in his intelligence and ability to remember pretty much everything from his life. Amazing. He was very,
Yeah.
he was extraordinary. He is.
I remember when he would take October in his cab, driving in his cab, right? You must have been.
Would she
4.
sit shotgun and they'd take fares?
Yeah, right. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I loved it because I would go for rides with Dad. And usually the people would get in the back and I'd be in the front. Sometimes he'd have me in the back, depending on what they were used to. But whenever he had to call the company at the front, you know, where they're ready for a new fare, I just had to sit there very quietly and acting like I wasn't there. The time, you know, we were in there driving just so I could spend the day with him, and music, all the music. That's what I always remember, just driving in his cab and all the great music he would listen to. It was great. That's how I got to spend time with him, because he worked all the time, but he always made it fun.
Did you ever go in the cab too? Did you go driving with him in the cab?
A little bit, yeah. I remember him beating the crap out of the dash because he lost a fare.
That was the other side of Doug.
It's broken, Dad.
Now we walk
So
into
I
the dark.
couldn't hear what Orion said.
Uh,
Ryan, can you say that again? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, just I remember being in a cab with him and he was mad about something and he just beat the crap out of the dashboard, and you know, he did have a bit of a temper at times.
Oh, there were lots of times.
He'd always calm down and say, you know, son, I wasn't mad at you. I wasn't mad at you, son. But, yeah.
Yeah, and carpet cleaning.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
What would piss him off about carpet cleaning, or just like people not
Running
paying?
late, or
Oh yeah.
machinery breaking down,
Yeah.
customers going spot. Yeah, you name it.
Oh yeah, he threw. I don't know how many times he threw coffee cups at Jason Driver. Yeah.
I was just gonna touch on this. He taught me how to drive, but he also taught me, you know, if you go to the gas station to get a coffee, you grab 2, because if somebody pisses you off, you open your window and look at them.
Tell the story of that time he punched that guy in the face.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know if anybody knows Riddle. What was his? I can't remember.
Mark
Riddle. Mark. Okay, they were both in like relatively young, maybe early 20s, like really early 20s.
And Dad was pumping iron. He was huge.
Yeah, he was
He was a big football player.
Yeah. His like he had a neck like this, right? Like, I mean, it was just enormous. So I guess he was bunking with Mark in a house. I don't know.
I think there were a bunch of people sharing a house or something.
Yeah. So I guess he came back and he was trying to sleep from cab driving. And Mark was watching all of this going on. And Doug, there was a guy across the street, and he just drove up and he started honking.
He was there to pick somebody up.
Yeah.
And whoever it was wasn't coming out.
Yeah, they weren't coming out. So what was the deal?
So then Mark's watching, and Dad comes out after a while because he's really irritated and he's trying to sleep. He comes out
in his underwear. Yeah.
Gets the guy to unroll his window and then just decks him in the face. And then years later, Mark tells Dad, I was watching the whole thing. The thing that you never knew is that the one guy pulled out and left, and some other guy goes into the driveway.
You know, from the other side of the point of view, Doug's the villain.
He just rolls down the window.
Just pulls in and uses that.
Mark told us that on the Freemans. He told us the story on the Freemans.
Oh, God.
So Grandpa punched the wrong guy.
Yeah. And some guy just pulled up.
Yeah. He never said a word. He never said a single word.
Decked him and turned around and
Turned
walked
around
back.
and walked out.
And for what, like 30, 40 years, he didn't know he'd hit the wrong guy.
Well, Mark was probably scared.
I remember hearing the story of Uncle Doug drinking the glass of bleach.
Oh,
What?
bleach or carpet dye.
It was something, it was at
Yeah.
a job.
He was at a carpet dyeing thing and the lady gave him a cup of coffee and they were sitting there
Oh, no.
bullshitting, but Dad didn't realize that he put down his coffee and picked up his carpet dye.
Really?
That's almost like an Austin Powers bitch or something like that.
Bleach. There was a glass of bleach right beside the kitchen sink, and he was really thirsty.
Oh.
And he chugged it. And then afterwards, he realized what happened, and he was just, like.
Oh,
Oh,
How do you
different-
guys not remember that? Because I was like, how did you not die?
Did you happen to
he was
see it?
Doug Davidson.
And
That's
he
what
just
happened.
didn't tell anyone else. No, it was just like, you know, like who keeps a glass of bleach right beside
Doug was always sucking things out of his machine. Like climbing and.
oh, they were very close.
I was a little jealous why they left the business.
Yeah, they were just always trying to find that machine. You know,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
the solution. Oh, God.
Yeah,
And or his truck, that happened too. I don't know why. Maybe siphoning things out of from one vehicle into another or something. He was sucking up gasoline. It was pretty normal.
And wasn't there something about the state of all of the carpet cleaning machines? They'd be duct taped and wired up, and then eventually you'd try to take them in for repairs, and the guys would be like, they would just keep them going with duct tape.
yeah. Sure.
But Doug could keep anything going with duct tape,
And
a
wire.
bunch of cord,
Wire.
yeah, maybe some wire and a gum wrapper.
Yeah, there was a
So-
time he was driving home and in a fish truck, I think, and his his lights were out, so we drove the whole way home with the flashlight.
Oh,
under
that's
our-
Yeah.
You know, just so they'd see him.
Not so he could see, but yes.
Yeah.
From afar, they think it's like a bicycle.
Yeah.
Bicyclist that go by. It's a fucking school bus.
Yeah,
Oh, that
he
was-
was a wild man.
Yeah.
He was a wild man.
Yeah.
With iron stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks, if I can, I'm gonna take my leave soon.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Just I want one thing I knew that he Doug that he had a pre-clear once and he was running them on an incident, I believe, and or it was an upset, like we call it an ARC break, and he said tell me about it, and the client said, well, he said, I had just pulled my car into a parking spot, and this guy came up to me and told me to roll down the window. It's like Doug Austin story.
And Doug went ahead and assessed it, right?
He didn't ask if anything was addressed. So I have plans to come up and visit Kathy and Zale again at some time when it's little sanity comes back to traveling. And she said the other day, she said, you got to come up and hang out with Dave and Nora. So I've seen them now. Are they, should I hang out with them, or are they a little?
A little sus, but you know.
Yeah, well, good, then I'm in. So I look forward to that, and I hope I can meet any of you. What a great group you are. I did get a sense of a communication, something very strongly from him today as we're doing this, and I want to pass that on to you. And then just one other consideration. I mean, I do feel, feel I know the loss, and more than anything, it seems, I could be wrong, but he wants the message, if that's important. He wants you to marvel in one another, what he says, as I did in you.
And he did. He really did. He loved
So that's,
everybody. Yeah.
I'm supposed to pass on it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. He did. Everybody was important to him. Everybody.
Yeah. You all felt like you were so special in his presence because he knew you how special. He didn't treat you. He knew you were special. He look, that's how he, and we are, and continue that with each other. That's his desire, that you continue, that you treat each other as he treated you, as he knew you, your true quality, your true nature.
The guy who punched in the nose.
And Annette, if I had you on the picture, talk, Annette, so your picture comes up.
Oh, I guess you have to turn it off.
If let's see, I just wanted to focus on you. So Annette, if anything, give me a call.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
All right, and love you all. Real honor to meet you all and to be part of this. That's it.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mom, the reason that we don't see you come up is because you're muted and you're coming through on Dave's computer. And so we don't see your picture come up big. We hear you through Dave's computer, but it's his computer and your voice. So and it's kind of far. So that's what we're hearing.
Now?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Matthew,
So
do you
nobody
have
has been
any
able to.
Jeff stories?
Who are you asking?
Matthew.
Oh, Maddie. Is he there?
Matthew.
Not really.
No.
I think.
Who does your hair?
Ed. I used to help Grandpa all the time when he was fixing stuff, and he always get mad. I'd always be like, "What's the problem?" And then he'd tell me the problem.
But it wasn't ever you, right?
Yeah. Especially angry, and I asked him what the problem. You always walk into a room with him. He always says, "How you doing? Hey, how you doing?" Okay, how you doing? Back, and I did that this one time, and he actually said, "I'm doing terrible," and I was like, "Oh, why?" He was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to sleep here. Everyone's being so loud," and I was like, "Oh, I'll be quiet." And I remember I woke up the next day, and he was like, "I'm so sorry for being angry," and I was like, "What? You weren't being angry. You just told me." He was like, "I don't know. I just feel like I was being mean." Yeah.
Wow, that was Doug. Yeah. That was Doug. Yeah.
Just very pure. Very pure.
Sure, like butter lump sand.
Oh.
Butter
lump sand.
Butter lump sand is his favorite.
That I remember.
Peanut butter and banana.
And
No.
cheese.
Lumpy butter.
Lumpy butter, peanut butter, honey, and cheese.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a very interesting sandwich.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, his favorite.
Sorry, Matthew, go ahead.
He drinks maple syrup straight
I
out of
don't know
the
how to get.
maple syrup.
There.
Yeah, he drank, that's a good point, Lisa, he drank his maple syrup right out of the jug whenever he could. Yeah, and put back the empty thing in the fridge.
We liked it so much, so we started getting them for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right.
Jugs of maple syrup and blocks of cheese, tins of beans.
Frozen butter.
Frozen butter. When you get to know someone. The quality item. Oh, yeah, he loved that movie. It's a quality.
Quality item, Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody is getting snackish, please,
Yeah.
it's a little awkward the way you got it set up, but please don't be hungry.
I remember you complaining about the maple syrup thing. You're like, oh, he drinks it right from the bottle. And I was always like, oh, that's so weird. And now, like, once in a while, kind of like in the evening or something, I'm like, I want something sweet and I can't eat sugar, right? And I'll take a sip of maple syrup from the bottle every time I think about Doug.
Oh,
I'm being like Doug.
Yeah.
I think of Reservoir Dogs and I think of Doug.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, October Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, gosh.
Favorite.
Stuck in the middle with you.
That's something,
Yeah.
yeah. That's something I loved about Dad is that he didn't really understand conventions and what was appropriate. And so from a young age, he would just teach us jokes he liked. And we would just watch movies with him. So, you know, hey, he loved Alien. So we just, you know, I'm for, hey, Shine, let's watch Alien. Okay. And we're like, and then Reservoir Dogs. And it's so disturbing. And he just loved it. And by that time I was a little older, but that, yeah, he loved stuff like that. But that's one thing about Dad is he just never, you know, he talked to you and treated you like you were just like from his own eyes and not from what society was supposed to tell him about, you know, what a 3-year-old should do is completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
Didn't have any clue, you know, so yeah, I watched all kinds of funny like movies I shouldn't have seen, mostly, you know, World War movies and Reservoir Dogs and all that kind of stuff. And it was fun, you know, when he talked to you like, hey, you remember this? It's and like, you know, you're 5, like you're supposed to know anything about all these things. He just talks to you like he's just making you remember something, you know. Oh yeah, I remember, and it goes like this, and then he will explain it. But what was always great is that he just assumed always that you were like always up here. Never, like they said, like Colton, I think it was Colton, he never talked down to you. He always actually never talked, you know, even the dogs, he never talked down to them.
No, never. My favorite things to do for Dad was to take the dogs for a walk. That was one of the best times.
And he just loved to do it too. He always made sure his dogs got their walk and got their treats, and you know, if he got his lotto ticket, Grandpa would get treats for the dogs, and you know,
Lotto tickets for the dogs.
Treats for the dogs, yeah. Lotto tickets.
You know, your vehicle was never clean if Grandpa and dogs had it.
No.
No.
Our vehicle was never clean, not under any circumstance. Because the dogs were always in it. muddy.
Also those.
You know, they've been swimming. It didn't matter. He didn't care.
I remember like if he couldn't find his keys to his truck and like he could find mine, off he'd go in my truck, just not even telling me because he couldn't find his keys. And then yeah, I'd be looking out the window, my truck's not there, Grandpa's gone with the dogs, and yeah, it just didn't tell me, but his keys were right beside mine, but he couldn't find them. Oh, he'd take mine. And then he come back an hour or so later, dogs are wet or something's going in the river, and then I get back in my truck and he's got coffee stains on the roof. All over my steering wheel, on the floor, in the cup holders.
Obviously, another driver was giving him lip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And in the back seat, there'd be remnants of dog food everywhere of the treats he got him, and it's just like, oh, Grandpa.
He liked to just drive with a regular coffee cup too. It wasn't like
Oh,
a
yeah.
travel thing. It was
No, just like an open, just like mug all the time, and that's why it would be on my roof, all over my window, all over the steering wheel.
He was also honey paws. Oh, anytime he took the honey jar out to make a sandwich, there was honey everywhere, on the fridge, on the counters, just on the jar, just
on the TV remotes,
yeah.
on the couch, on the dogs' heads.
Yeah.
You go down to pet the dogs, and it's just like honey, just all smeared across their heads.
I remember we used to get him travel mugs, but he wouldn't use them.
No,
he liked those coffee cups. I came across some pictures the other day when the kids were little, and he was giving Reagan shoulder ride, and Grayson was beside him. And in one hand, he's got a mug. He's walking down the road like he's on a hike with them, and he's got his mug in one hand and Reagan on his shoulders.
Yeah,
it's so funny. He just always had that open coffee. You know, you're just gonna go down the road. Dad's got his, he's got his cup with him.
Yeah, if you're going to like the beach or something and he's like wading into the water, he's got his coffee mug.
Yeah, into the water, he's got his cup.
Yeah, he was a character.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
And that when you said you were trying to get him to do exercises and stuff,
Oh.
and you get him to do weights, and he'd go, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a 10-pound weight. I was trying to get him to do something, right? Just anything. So I gave him my 10-pound weight, just like, it's good for me. Right? And he's like lifting it, like he's almost with one finger. Oh. Okay, that's enough. I was a big joke to him a lot of times.
Yeah. Job, he'd always call me Steiner.
Yeah. He called me Rainy.
Always. So that was my name for the last 15 years, just Steiner. Yeah. And then he'd be like, oh shit, sorry, Rainy.
Yeah, every time too. Oh, hey, Rainy. Oh, sorry. I'm like, it's okay. I mean, I know it's just a term of love for your daughters and granddaughters that you love. He used to call her Ryan Maverick, so I mean, we got
but we all do.
I call her Hurricane Orion.
Yeah. I don't know. Ryan sort of interchanged with dogs or
apparently, yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
where's that going?
Well, remember the time when we went swimming at the, in the rock hole? What was that called? Where the TV people had their,
Yeah,
oh,
so Rockall Beach.
the Rockall Beach? Yeah. There was a rope on a branch. Yeah. And he was gonna swing on it. Yeah. So he swung out and then the branch broke and he landed on the rocks. And he got up. He got up. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. If anybody was there.
Kettle or Joe Girls?
No, it was at
Rockall, South
what was it? What their name was?
The Gillespie.
Gillespie
Oh.
Beach, yeah. It was Gillespie Beach, yeah.
You didn't land on the water?
No, well, it was, but it was
Shallow.
it was shallow and there were rocks underneath it. So he landed straight on his butt.
So they started calling that Gillespie Beach?
That's just
Well, that's who owned it, right? Or
Well,
didn't own it, but
they-
they owned the land.
They said they claimed to own it. They chased people off of there.
Yeah, that was Gillespie.
Yeah, that's Rockall Beach. South Rockall.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, well.
But he didn't really, I mean, he flinched a little bit, but it wasn't a really big deal to him. You know, he just sort of walked in.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Tough man.
That kind of reminds me of Get a little bit. Like Get would be unfazed by like, fall off the ladder, just kind of get on.
I've heard so many of you.
That's cool.
Like, like Get and Doug had.
Movie quotes.
Step up.
Oh, I was just.
This is-
I was just saying, like in that sort of like. In that sense, like Doug and Getta were kind of similar, right? Like they'd just be unfazed by that kind of thing, Mary would hit him with the pot and just like.
And that's just like Annette would always be hitting Doug.
But just, fall off a ladder, you just kind of get up. Sure, you have a broken rib, but that'll heal. And it's just like, it is, tree breaks, you land on the rocks, kind of get up and you just keep going, right?
Yep. Like
Yeah.
we're pretty sure Dougie had a broken foot at the end.
Right at the end.
But he just kept walking and walking. We got one of these boots because Ryan had seen one at Value Village, and that's Adele. He was just then he was walking around a lot better.
Okay.
But yeah, with a broken foot though.
But yeah, he did that at the end, yeah.
We gave it
Yeah,
back to
he
the
was
BB.
like that. I think he went to visit mom or someone in the hospital a while ago, a few years ago, and the nurse noticed dad was a visitor, and the nurse noticed that he had his arm was black and swollen because he had a spider bite. And they took him right then to the ER and got him fixed up. But who knows what he would, he's just walking around with his this thing spreading and infesting, and it's gonna get to his heart pretty soon. He's just like, what? No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Black Widow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing anything about it.
Yeah.
No.
He used Papa's ointment.
Eventually he
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
after when we got back.
Was that when his elbow went into big?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was the size of a baseball.
Yeah, like this big.
But yeah, he used the ointment.
But that was after the nurse came and told him he had to do something about it.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that ointment was amazing. You just slathered it on and took it down.
Did they give him some anti-venom or anything like that? Or it was too just.
Antibiotics, that's what they give them, antibiotics intravenously in emergency.
Because that might actually be what's dangerous, is if you make it past the venom stage, you get infected or something like that.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, that's all kind of huge. You guys want to say anything? You guys want to say
Well,
anything?
I was just saying to Rainey, I know, I haven't known him near as long as most of you have. But I mean, he stayed with us a couple of times for weeks at a time. He just incorporated himself into our family. He was just
always so kind, like just like, I mean, everyone says that, but it was just really true. And he never seemed to get upset. He was just always thinking of us all the time. Like, and yeah, he had all these stories all the time he was telling, and he'd tell them multiple times. He told them again, and he'd listen again. Yeah.
Sometimes
Then
changed a little bit.
Yeah. So he wouldn't remember that he told us already, I guess. It didn't matter. But then at the same time, I was saying like he could remember a movie from 30 years ago, like word for word. And I always just was marveling at that.
Yeah.
And and as far as like he audited me, and I would say it was like the best ever I ever had. Like I just felt so cared for and so felt not like I had never had before. So.
A lot of people, you know, a lot of like hundreds of people sort of said he was the best auditor he's ever had.
Yeah. 100%. And now hearing all these stories, I'm like, I just wish I knew one longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was such a character. Such a character, and just like the biggest void we're all missing right now with him.
Yeah. He really liked you guys. Like he really loved you. The whole family. Yeah. He just loved you guys. Me too.
One thing about Dad is that he would get angry, but he never, unless he was, unless it was like personal, but he never let his temper, things that would get to him, he never directed at others. He might direct it at a wall, or he might, beat up a dashboard. But he was always, I was never scared. He never scared me. I was never like, I would see him get angry at something, I'd feel sorry for him, and I'd be like, poor Dad, he's just, things aren't working out sometime, and he'd get mad and punch things. But it was never like, you always felt safe, and you never felt like, and he didn't do that often, most of the time he is, but I think because he's so kind all the time, he didn't have, if something went wrong, he just never had a way to kind of, he wasn't patient in that way, and that would be hard for him with stuff. Machines were always his nemesis.
Yeah, we heard a lot of swearing, and throwing and yelling.
It's like an art. Beautiful.
Yeah. When he was fixing a vehicle, oh my God, it was like the whole, everybody in the valley.
And he'd crinkle up his little nose. Fuck, shit, damn. It's like that. His little nose would get all crinkled when he's all yelling and he's mad. And he's so cute.
Yeah.
I remember I bought a brand new weed whacker, and I hadn't even used it yet. And so Grandpa, I got it running, but he took it from me, and off he went, and he started weed whacking. Well, it's one of those new ones where you just tap it to let the weed string out. Well, he started tapping it, and he wasn't getting it. Well, finally, he just grabbed the thing and smacked it on the ground. broke the head, broke everything. It wouldn't run, it wouldn't turn, it wouldn't do anything. And he's just having the time of his life, swearing at the top of his lungs. So I'm like, I watched it all happen, and I'm like, okay, Grandpa, like I think it's broken. You got to stop using it. Go get the electric one, because I know he knew how to use that one. So and he wouldn't break it. So I got that one fixed, and again I got it running with gas and oil, with a new weed whacker head. But again, stupid of me. You tap it on the ground to release the string. Well, it's broken again.
And he is the only one who has ever used it.
The only one who ever will.
Yeah, what's the opposite of the Midas touch?
You touch it.
Dougie touch.
The Douglas touch.
Yeah, yeah.
He made up songs with Orion and Desi.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll touch on that.
We don't dare.
I think Desi and I made up the songs and Dad just cringed in the corner.
Yeah, you guys used to make burping songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Sing one.
I don't, yeah.
He doesn't remember.
You need a beer first, right?
Probably fine.
That's a good. Look at that.
Do y'all remember that Halloween with the fireworks where like everything was being lit on fire?
Yeah.
Like, and the men are all drunk trying to set off the fireworks. The women finally took the kids into the house. They're like, this is too dangerous. And the men are like trying to light things with gasoline and lighting with the wrong end of the fireworks. To the point where Doug finally lit himself on fire. Yeah, he's driving around on fire with a gas can. And Rolf is yelling at him, stop, drop, and roll.
Literally on fire.
Yeah. I guess he had the fireworks set up, and then he wanted to get a distance away and light it from a distance. So he had a jerry can full of gas, and he soaked the fireworks with gasoline, and then he's running across the lawn, laying a trail of gasoline. It's burning. The gas. He's burning up his jeans here, and he's turning around and he's looking at us and going, the way he did. It's just, it's just.
And at that time, he probably had a cigarette.
Yeah, he did. I think that's how the whole thing got going.
Yeah, that was quite the Halloween. Yeah, all the things were crooked, and so they were like shooting. Oh
Yeah,
they were everywhere.
They set up the what are they, Roman candles and those big things, and they tied them to branches. And the fence, you did this, right? Part of it, yeah. All the guys, right? And somehow they didn't get them pointed all in the same direction.
Somehow, yeah.
So it was a fence, wire fence, and they wired them in all these different directions. And then okay, kids, ladies, come out. Everybody come. Then they lit them on fire, but the rockets were going we were all running.
They were zinging off the branches of trees. I had one zinged off the brim of my hat.
I think a couple even hit the window of the house.
It's amazing that
They're all lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
We are, yeah.
It's amazing that nobody got hurt with all of these
It's a great story,
shenanigans.
And you
Yeah.
you kind of think that maybe we were all in our late teens and 20s when we did this.
No.
Well into our 50s.
Spry 50s. We have to be around fast.
Yeah.
You had to.
You want to make it to 60.
I missed that one.
Oh,
We were
you did?
worse. I think I probably ended up at home with, my baby. Like kind of thing. But man, that sounds like quite the night.
It was.
We might have been there, Lisa, because I was pretty young when that one happened.
I could have been inside the house.
Oh,
You could have been, yeah.
With the women and children.
yeah, waiting.
It's safety.
Yeah, I mean, even the less eventful aspects of Halloween, you folks would get dressed up, maybe Doug put like a floppy hat on. You guys would have your little Mickey, but you guys would be taking us around just to do our trick or treating. You know, even those memories when people aren't being lit in fire.
Even then. It could be fun.
Yeah. Remember, it'd be a whole group of us for like 2 kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was for the parents.
Yeah.
Taking Rainey trick or treating.
Yeah. It was like-
Just a crowd of grandparents and aunts and uncles or whoever.
Cousins,
All,
everybody. like-
it wasn't just me, it was
Yeah.
all of us going trick or treating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I appreciate this, guys. It's really been helping to hear all these stories and laugh about Dad. It's really healing and awesome.
Yeah.
Me too.
I love hearing everybody tell their stories and all these memories. This is great.
Yeah. The best thing that ever happened to us. He really was.
Yeah.
He was the best of us.
Yes.
He was the best of us. He was the worst of us.
A little bit of the worst is sort of been coming in.
He was the shenanigan starter.
Yeah. Remember floating with Dougie once, and he was on one of those sort of loungers. Remember the loungy thing, and he just could not stay on that thing. He'd been the whole time it was flipping over, and he'd be trying to get back up. Yeah.
Was this the death float? Because I think nobody could stay on their loungers that
No, it wasn't the death float.
I don't think we went on the death float.
No.
Death.
Death-
Dave and Nora.
It was Death Float 95. Tobe was with us, Orion.
Tobe was with us, yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan.
probably 3
I
or
was with you.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
mom
you
got
guys were
so
probably-
drunk.
because you guys were on Booze Day Float 94. That
That
one,
was the good one.
that was the
Yeah,
good one.
that was it.
Then we tried to do it again the next year. And what it was we were setting out from Carson.
Yeah.
And we're all there. We're all on our tubes in the water, waiting for your mom.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And we thought, well, what the hell? We'll start drinking. And by the time Nadine showed up, we were already blotto.
And you know, the story is, it's just the sun. When you're out in the sun, the liquor affects you more. And then the photos come out, and there's the vodka. It's just the sun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can drink a bottle of vodka in the
In
shade,
the
no problem.
shade,
It wasn't the Corda.
Yeah.
Smirnoff.
Yeah.
And after the Booze Day float, we said, if Santa was a hybrid, it wouldn't have been ho ho ho. It'd have been
I remember you were hanging onto Orion's tube. I think we were saying, keep her head above the water.
Don't worry, she was all of like 8.
12.
12.
It's the magic number. 12.
Yeah.
Remember hanging my head outside of Jenna's old truck.
Oh, on the ride home, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why they were called grandpas. The people that would come and pick us up at the end of the float, and it would be Bill and yeah.
Yeah.
And tamed it down the next year. Everyone else made up.
Yeah.
She was drinking Black Russians when she finally showed up. I think she was mixing them.
I can't hear you at all. Is it possible to come closer to the mic?
Oh, I just remembering how the death float, when Mom finally showed up, she was mixing Black Russians in the tube, and everyone was.
Is that coffee and
It was like
vodka?
Kahlua and coffee, I think. Like she had a mug of coffee and
Black Russian, Kahlua and vodka. Isn't it?
vodka. Yeah, maybe it's just Kahlua and vodka. She probably had Sambuca in there or something too. Some
Mm.
girl. Yeah, she was a mess. I think we climbed up the bank early around Savantans.
Yeah.
Everybody got out of different places
Yeah.
on
Breaking
death floor.
bottles on the beach.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
she was like
Mount
rolling
Rivers.
around. No.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
she
oh,
was
really?
just, she got.
She'd
got
drain a
into it,
bottle and
like,
just chuck it behind her.
Yeah. I got off at Smokers and I just lay there and I thought, if I sit up, I'm gonna throw up, and I could hear people talking, nice little beach people all around me, and I was just lying there. And as soon as it got quiet, I stood up, I did throw up and everything, and paddled, and all by myself, like, where is everybody? I found my way back to your mom's house, and Bill was there, and I just remember saying, what time is it? That was a bad flow.
Yeah.
One bad float out of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some good floats.
Oh,
so.
sure. The rest of them were all great.
Yeah, what a great childhood.
Mm.
But I had. Thank you all for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we had fun. We always took the dogs floating. When Doug and I went floating, we always took the dogs. There was always a dog feeding raw hot dogs to dogs.
Kasha was awful when you'd bring her on.
Kasha wasn't a floater.
Maverick was.
He was,
And Fonzie was pretty good.
yeah.
I think.
Fonzie.
I remember sometimes though the dogs would be in a dinghy and that became the garbage scow. So by the end, they were just, you could see.
Bottles and chip bags.
Yeah.
But they loved it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We knew those rivers so well. We had every bend on every river. We had all the rapids had names. The banks, depending on where you were. We had we drew maps. We had river terminology. We had like the river gods all had names. There was the god of the wind and the god of the precipitation. It could hail or rain. The god of the sunshine. There was the overall god of floating. That was Michelin Man.
Oh, yeah.
That was because back in the day, people actually floated on inner tubes.
Actual tubes.
Yeah, now you hardly ever see any.
Rubber burn. Oh man, I still can feel the rubber burn.
Yeah, rubber burn. There's a song about
Rubber burn, yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, the little.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Remember one time
You put your pokey down.
Yeah.
we got in at Carson one float, I forget which float, but partway down the river, I realized I could hear this kind of like and right there by my hand, my tube was leaking. So I just put my thumb over the leak, and carried on floating, drinking beer. Well, I could feel the rubber starting to split.
Oh, no.
So after a while, I realized. So I just turned to Nora. I said, "Hold this." She took my beer and I just took my thumb off the thing and went under. We always took a spare tube.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oh, yeah.
Anything can happen on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, in those days, there weren't that many people on the river like there is now. Now it's like a freeway.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in
Getting in
those days-
Carson, you have to cut, there's like a lineup of groups when
Yeah.
you get in Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, we were the biggest thing on the river. We'd go
yeah.
on a float with like 30 people and our dogs.
Still, that would, I mean, yeah, you don't see it nowadays, but I remember, yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
it was really cool as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frankie and Kelly. were-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of my favorite things to do was swim around and go from tube to tube and pop up and say hi to everybody and then, carry on my way and go swim and pop up and say hi to somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kids loved it.
Yeah. River rats.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got tired, I know somebody would pull me up onto their tube and put me back in mine.
Yeah. Then there was the that long stretch from the
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
to Plants Corner. that was the best part.
Mhm.
Like the whole thing is like four, maybe 5 feet deep, but usually like most of it's like 4 feet deep. It's like a canal, you know, and it's just slow floating all the way
And
down.
that beach at Plants Corner,
Oh.
not that roadside, but the other side.
The other side, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Thank You Babe Rock. Hey, Tobe,
Yep, I remember
You
Thank
remember-
You Babe Rock.
you remember it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we were at Plants Corner and we were all swimming all over the place, right? And I was swimming and I was kind of getting out of breath and there was this, I didn't know about it yet, but I was kind of getting out of breath. And then I look up and there's Tobe standing in water like this, holding her hand down to me. And she pulls me up onto this rock. It's a big round rock. It says, do you know who won?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, thank you, babe. And we called it the Thank You Babe Rock. And I, you know, every now and then I've been able to find it, but there's times when I've looked and looked and looked and couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have made it my life goal to try and find that rock every time I go there. And I have never found it, ever. But it's still my life goal. I will keep trying.
I hope you find it. I mean, it probably has to be a little bit shallow. We're probably tubing a
It's
little
probably
late,
late
later in the
summer,
summer.
Yeah.
But
I've
it's
taken
real big.
goggles. I'm taking goggles and snorkels, and I can't find the thing.
Do you think it's gone?
Couldn't be.
No, it couldn't be.
It's like a boulder.
It couldn't be, but yeah, I don't know. It's your rock, Tobe. It's
All
your
right,
rock.
I'll have to find
You're
it.
gonna have to
That was a great rock.
come home
Yeah.
and
Show
help
us
me
where
find
it
it.
is. That's right.
Yeah, it's the magical Toby rock.
Okay. Now, I'll make that my goal.
I have another Doug story. There was a reunion at our house, a Soroka family reunion. All the Sorokas came, Walter and Frankie.
Yeah, my aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
My
and-
dad was there. My mom, I think, was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She came up for that.
And Dad was picking Rainey up in Vancouver from Shinies. And Rainey, yeah, was like, I think she was like 4, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Now you can go ahead.
So I guess there was this amusement park. The theme was dinosaurs. It was
Frank
called
Flintstone.
Dino Town or
That's in Chilliwack.
Dino Town or something like that. Just on the highway going out of Chilliwack. I guess I'm 40. We're in the Q van.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I guess I said to Grandpa, I want to go to Dino Town. And he's like, well, we gotta go home. We gotta go home. Like, 'cause everybody's waiting for us, right? And I guess I was just like, but Grandpa, you'll never take me to Dino Town.
So they went to the.
And I stayed and I stayed and I played and I played. And Grandpa grudgingly just stayed with me. And you know, I remember at one point the ride wasn't working and I got Grandpa to push me along the track. What did I say to him? I can't remember. I don't remember either, but yeah, Grandpa just, so we were very, very, very late to our
Well,
family reunion.
That wasn't the only thing. It was every single McDonald that Rainey saw, right? Every single one. Grandpa, you never take me to McDonald's. Like every single one. And I think at Bromley Rock too. So you had to take the tricycle out of the truck and push her around. You know, Bromley Rock is
By Princeton.
by Princeton. It's like, yeah. So, Grandpa, you never take me to Bromley Rock. It's like multiple ways. And then he said they got somewhere past, maybe past Bromley Rock, like within 2 minutes. When are we gonna be home, Grandpa? But he did that, you know, he would do that for her, for all the kids. It was always.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like to be.
Yes.
That's a kid, yeah.
Tell the story how he got kicked out of the States for 5 years.
Well.
Oh.
I-
His teenage blues brothers.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh.
The Bluesmobile?
I don't remember
That's how I
these
remember
things.
it.
Lisa, was that the car that you had like stickers all over that kind of was like
Blue guns.
Like
The
dingo
fabric in
balls.
the interior, I had like Hawaiian print and kind of like.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
balls and then all kinds of stuff. It was black and white, like the Bluesmobile brothers.
You tried to
mobile.
sneak across the border in that car. I think I go back at
Most
home.
discreet car, but the most poetic car.
I was thinking like October to see Tobe or something, and then the.
No, that was to go down to Doug McDonald's in Bellingham.
Was it? Oh, maybe he snuck across the border later.
No, I thought it was to see October too. I seem to remember that.
You know, he was going down for something at Doug's or something like to Las Vegas. We had dropped him off or something in Vancouver. And something happened. It was to do with Say Yes or something. And can't remember. Mom, do you remember why he couldn't go? What happened?
I think we were like, yeah, it was
Well, his
after
visa
Vegas.
ran out.
So maybe he was in that period where he had to be out of the States for a period of time. There was some reason he really needed to go to the States. And I thought it was
Yeah, somebody told on him at the gas station. We did something, had to change something at the gas station on the way down to the Vancouver border, to the Peace Arch, and somebody called him in to the Peace Arch so that when he got there, he wasn't allowed in and he was banned for 5 years.
Yeah.
Didn't he get smuggled in the trunk to go see you October?
Oh, that might have been, that was
Oh, so
before.
this has happened more than once.
Yeah, that was or after. That's when we stayed in Danville for
Yeah.
and Dad was smuggled in. Oh yeah, because he had been banned. That's right.
Yeah.
So that was after. So Dad had been banned from the States, but I wasn't allowed in because of my visa. I couldn't leave the country. And then we were staying at a place in Danville, and so they smuggled Dad in the trunk. That's right.
Yeah.
No. It was
don't
in
remember
between Danville and Curlew.
That's right.
It was like Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wolves.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was when Billy
Billy
and Pete.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pete.
Peter.
Oh gosh, and Billy.
Yeah.
both
Pete in the bathroom.
Yeah, they were so drunk.
They were
right?
like 15 and
15.
just drinking everything.
Had a rite of passage there in your hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember passed out on the floor and I'm not sure, it was your brother, Anya, I'm not sure if he had any clothes on. I think he was in the bathroom and I remember.
Didn't
body
Orion like
there.
break the door down or something? He was like locked in the bathroom.
Yeah, he was stuck there, locked in there and I
Poor
remember
guys.
Shaw had to help him out because
Him
I,
and Billy kept
he
speaking
wasn't
while everyone
clothed.
else was moving.
He was naked.
they
Yeah,
were
Shaw
together.
remembers he was naked.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Naked, passed out in the bathtub, puking.
Isn't he on the call? That's Pete? Is that, are you like, do you have anything to say there, Pete?
I don't think Pete's
No.
on.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
just unmuted himself. There he is.
Hi guys, my video is not working. That's about the gist of it.
Aw.
You got-
Billy getting hammered across the border.
Well, yeah, we took a
got
couple
video there,
wildcats, and we were drinking wildcats at the table, kind of hiding them, and then we kind of clued in that no one was really watching, so we had to get several more. I remember that well.
Oh,
You
I
do
was a
remember
shitty
it?
big
That's
sister, and I made fun of you forever for that.
That's
Well, as you
impressive.
should. Well, laugh it up, you guys.
Okay, we will.
But yeah, I was definitely butt naked in the bathtub. Sorry, Shaw.
Yeah. I think Anya brought
I
that
would
up.
never bring that up.
No, but his sister brought it up. That's,
I know.
That's what sisters do, yeah.
Well, I didn't bring that up. I brought up Doug in the trunk, and it led to
Oh,
this.
someone brought up Pete in the tub, so I don't know.
It was amazing what he was game for. Like seriously.
Yeah.
No, it's going in the trunk. He's gonna see us. No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the stories about when he when you used to play house with him, Total.
Yeah, I used to love playing house with Dad. He would always play.
Yeah.
That was always a nice thing. I played work. We played office. We played house.
Mhm.
We played house, and I was the mom, and he was the kid. We played house, and I'd say, okay, let's start. Then we'd start playing house, and how you start playing house is you just hit him on the head and say, bad, bad, bad. And then how you play office is you sit down and you're playing office, and then you just point at Dad and say, you're fired. That was office.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, good games.
You're getting all the Duck stories. Yeah. You thought he was really conservative. Didn't you?
No, you told us quite a few stories. He sounds like he was
Oh.
I don't know if you've met Donna and Dick. So I don't know if you ever met them.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in Kelowna.
Oh, okay.
Good friends. Dad and I visit quite a bit. When Dad was in the hospital, for a month, I stayed with him.
Oh.
Really cool. And we
All
stayed.
right.
Yeah, otherwise I don't know how I would have been able to.
What's that?
Every day. Yeah. So Dick and Donna, and that's their kids, Max and
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry. Get out of the way.
Thanks, Steve. That's better. That's better. Oh, no. Hold on.
Okay, I'll just put this down.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh.
There you go.
Ah, better. That's better. Much nicer. Hi, Lily.
Hi.
Oh, you're so big.
I just didn't want to pre-bid well. The videos are going and
Would you like some? You got some iced teas, a beer?
From the other side. Yeah. Where you did them and then
What's that?
Iced tea. It's hard.
right beside me.
Go try one of those.
a vegetable thing? Oh. Ryan, you want one? Want a beer? Tea?
Do you?
But I gotta wait for
Wait for-
everybody to come back.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Grandpa and Reagan story.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Do you remember Grandpa a lot, Reagan?
What was that?
Do you remember Grandpa a lot?
Yeah, I didn't get to spend much time with him, but I remember him quite vividly.
Yeah. I guess one of my favorite stories of you and Grandpa is that he was calling Mom while Mom was in Colorado with you guys. And he said something to you about, you being his little cutie pie or something. And you said back to him, "I am not your cutie pie." And whenever we ever said like cutie pie or something like that, he would always quote you, "I am not your cutie pie." He just loved it. Yeah.
I remember another Reagan and Dougie story. It was Dougie's birthday and Lisa's place, as usual. It was sort of the middle of the summer.
Oh.
And somebody, maybe it was, I don't know whether Reagan actually gave it to Dougie. Anyways, he got one of those whoopee cushion things that you blow up.
It was Reagan.
Dougie would do it over and over and over, and you just cracked up every single time.
Every time he sat down on that thing, he'd get that surprise.
Yeah,
look
like,
on his face.
oh, what was that? Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, over and over again.
Do you remember that, Lise?
Yeah, that was a great time.
Yeah.
Was that his 60th wedding?
I think that was his 60th.
I think he brought all the crowd.
Oh,
That's right.
I think I remember that.
Lobster,
Yeah, we've had
oysters.
Yeah.
we had
That was the first oyster.
He was sitting at the table just watching.
The guys were
the
doing
seafood.
stuff on it.
Huh? He
I
loved,
don't know if he likes the oysters.
he loved the crab. Oh my God, crab and butter and
Shrimp and crab.
Exactly. I'm with
You
you.
brought in live lobster.
like I'm talking like
Live
one of the
crab?
street brush shots.
Benjamin's.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in his
Oh,
yeah.
I wish we could offer you some food, Grayson and Reagan. We got food all over the table here, and I feel like I should just reach out and give it to you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Are you guys hungry?
Yeah, just straight fresh.
Are you hungry? You doing okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
You guys eating hungry?
Good.
What do you got?
What you got?
We got vegetables. Cheese, crackers.
All right, we'll have some.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good. Oh.
Yeah. That's what we got.
The problem is nobody can get at it. We got all the food over here, kind of like, it's like it's in its own little room.
I know Dave's been getting at it. I've seen his arm cross the screen many times.
Yep.
He's not shy.
Shaw, do you got any good grandpa stories?
Who said what?
Shaw.
Shaw,
Oh, Shaw.
do you
Oh.
have good grandpa stories?
He's got one. He's got something. Maybe.
It's nice hearing you guys laugh, but I don't do that so well right now. Doug always was nice to me. I loved him. I love seeing him, and I love seeing all you guys. And you guys spend so much more time with him than I do. I can't imagine what you guys are going through, and I feel so bad. I feel bad that I'm here. I feel bad that my family's here virtually. I know that I'd like to try to get everyone together. But yeah, I love Doug and I love you guys. And I mean, I think of Doug, there's lots of funny stories, but I just can't talk about that right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, Shaw.
Yeah.
We love you too, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know, I just can't imagine what you guys are going through. And I just wish we were there to give you guys big hugs.
Cool.
Oh, there you are. You're back, Shaw.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh. Yeah, I was just saying, I just wish that we were there to give you guys big hugs, because he makes people feel good when you're near him. And it's just a huge loss for people that are near him on a daily basis. And that's all.
Shaw, we just wanted to thank you for trying so hard to get your family here.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys went the full meal deal, man.
Valiant effort.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sorry we can't give you guys hugs too.
Absolutely. These are rough times in so many different ways.
Yeah, really is. Really is. Like I wish you guys were like here for Billy's thing too, because that was so wholesome and loving, like it was just, you guys would have been happy to be here for that as well. Along with here with us with Grandpa, but like seeing you guys on the screen is amazing as well. And I know you guys are so close, and I just thank you for doing the best you can.
Yeah.
One thing that Mom has been saying over and over and over again this past week from just all of this is, we're not, as a family, we're not going to let this break us. We will be okay. And we do have to remember that as a family, we will be okay. Yeah. Because we have each other, we'll be okay.
Yeah, Doug was a really strong guy. We all have to be strong. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Strong and have a sense of humor.
Strong for us, but strong for Grandpa and for Billy. And for everybody else that our family has lost. We gotta be strong for them too.
And for all these stops on us being able to be together, like that's
Yeah.
another thing. We're just not gonna let that break.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about anything? No. We can just leave the Skype on or Skype.
Dusty, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I've been listening to all your stories of Doug, and I didn't know Doug in that way. His kind of his wild and crazy side. So I really enjoyed hearing about that stuff. I respected Doug, absolutely, and he was a good friend, but I didn't have those sort of funny stories to tell. But I met Doug and Annette through one of the business operations he was involved with, which was verified transactions. And so
Right.
I think, you know, Doug was too good for those people. He was very good at what he did. I think Doug could have been very successful. And those people were the real deal. They were in Vancouver. Real deal. It's unfortunate what happened there, because if they had followed the right course and actually delivered on the thing, then they would have, it was before these cards and things we take for granted today, they didn't really exist at that time. So they were on the right track, and they had the right product. And it's just a shame that, you know, Dan Scamell, you know,
Dan Scammer.
that was his name, took off with the money, I gather. I didn't hear the whole story.
Yeah, that's what he did.
But, you know, I think you're all really lucky to have had Doug, you know, growing up as a guide, you know, what a great guy, you know. And I'm sure Doug is fine. I know Doug is fine. I worry about Billy, but I also think that, I don't know, this is maybe outside of other people's sense of reality, but I do feel that there's a very good chance that, you know, they're together. You know, but I'm sure that Dougie would do what he could to help Billy. So, you know, I'm sure you'll all, you know, as I think Rainey was saying, that you're going to survive this. And I'm sure you will. I mean, you have such a great family. You know, I don't know if you all even realize how good of a relationship, the relationship running through this family is wonderful. I admire it. So that's all I have to say. I think I'm going to depart now. I'm still nursing my bit of an illness here, so I think it might be time I depart. But I've really enjoyed hearing all these stories. I really enjoyed the poem that Dave read, and I'd love to hear that again. I didn't catch every bit of it, and I just want to hear that again. So maybe I can hear it on the recording. Well, thank you. All the best to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dusty.
Thank you, Dusty.
Thank you, Dusty.
So you're thinking everybody can mill around and get
Yeah.
refreshments, but leave it open for
Yeah.
anybody who does want to say anything further.
Yeah, shall we do that? We'll just leave Zoom open and
People can mill about.
have something to eat. Maybe you guys want to over there.
Hey, Mom, do you want to stop recording?
Yeah, I guess it would be time to stop recording. But people can still talk.
Yeah, you can leave the chat open and mill around. We're gonna go in a few minutes to get our tests.
Okay, yeah, it's getting close.